your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcall DT. I hope you're having yourselves a fantastic Monday morning, hopefully coming off of a great weekend. I hope you got to relax and spend some time to, together with loved ones, with that special someone, with your pup, with your cat, with whoever, with yourself. Maybe you just took a weekend to kind of get your mind right and get set and get things figured out and whatnot. So whatever you did, I hope you had yourself a fantastic weekend, and I hope you're stepping into the week in such a big way and enjoying the week that is coming forward for you. So however your day is going this morning, let's try and make it better. If it's awesome, let's make it great. So on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, it is my absolute pleasure to bring you another week of fantastic guests, and very much looking forward to all of the wonderful conversations we are going to have. So I am definitely looking forward to today. Today's going to be a fantastic day featuring my guy Airon Servais, who's going to be joining us in just a few minutes on our video feed, and having this opportunity to speak with Airon Servais about his story, going through from Ashwaubenon, from Green Bay, Wisconsin, and going to Ashwaubenon High School, to coming to Syracuse from the Midwest, and now heading to the NFL draft, and fresh off of an opportunity that he just had to work out for the Green Bay Packers on this past Thursday and Friday. Thursday, more meetings. Friday, workouts with the Packers, but got to spend 2 days with the hometown Green Bay Packers. We'll be talking with Airon Servais about that as well, we'll be talking with him about his history coming off of that, and I'm very much excited about everything to come here with Airon Servais, and very much look forward to talking with him and getting to tell his story. He's been on this show for a long time. He spent 6 years at Syracuse, and before that when he was being recruited, so he's been on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for probably the last 7 years, to be safe, and how much time we've spent here. And I've gotten to know him. He's become a friend. He's a fantastic person, and he has done whatever Syracuse has asked of him. He has played center. He has played right tackle. He has played left tackle. He has started a season in one place, shifted to another, shifted back, shifted over, shifted there, shifted back. So, he has been a Swiss Army knife for this offense, and I commend him so very much for the work that he's done. He's had different personnel on either side of him at multiple times, and he's really spent the majority of his career at Syracuse with a lot of question marks around him and question marks as to where they needed him to be, and he's just gone wherever and played with whoever and worked his tail off. And I think that that's more than shows the NFL that he deserves an opportunity to get called in, either at the NFL draft or bare minimum to get a call to a camp, because of everything that he's done and because of the fact that he's played so many different positions. So I am honored that we get to tell the story of Airon Servais coming up here in just a few minutes at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Airon will join me on video, picture-in-picture, worldwide, to tell that story inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Cafe Kubal here with you on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse, and of course on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their North Syracuse location, their drive-thru, and on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, in their giant behemoth of a brown striped building. So however you're going to connect with Cafe Kubal, do it so today, and do it with love, because Cafe Kubal is made locally, source, everything is here for us. Cafe Kubal, made here, created here, grown here, advanced here, and here for us all the time. Cafe Kubal, a local, fantastic staple of our community. So make sure you come out to Cafe. And the cool thing about Cafe Kubal is when you go and you support them, not only are they local, but every single one of their cafes looks different and it has like an overall theme that's similar, but each of them it's like going to a different cafe every time. So if you go to Salina Street, that's different from Westwater. You go out to Manlius at 343 Fayette Street, and that has its unique touch to it. So not only is Cafe Kubal special to our community, but each of the cafes in and of themselves have their own personality. So make sure you go and check them out today and all throughout the week, and I appreciate that. I filled my cup up with cinnamon what I got the cinnamon bun or the cinnamon swirl. I think it was cinnamon swirl, and the brown sugar. I got those two. And you could go out and get cinnamon roll, pardon me. I got the cinnamon roll and the brown sugar chais, and you can go out and try your chais today, as well as all the coffees they have to offer, their awesome sandwiches, and of course those tasty treats, all at Cafe Kubal today. Airon Servais coming up first, going to be with us for about an hour of time, so he'll bring us from 9:15 into 10:15 a.m. Eastern time at least, and then we'll jump into my conversation at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time as Will Hicks joins the broadcast live on the Wake Up Call phone line, and we get to hear from Coach Hicks speaking on his history as a strength and conditioning guru for Syracuse, as well as what he's doing now as Director of Development at Syracuse University. We'll talk about the Orange and Blue game, what successes he thought came from that. We'll also have the opportunity to hear from him about Don McPherson and Eric Dungey returning to Syracuse during the Orange and Blue game. And, of course, we'll talk about the draft prospects that are coming up here for Syracuse. So, a lot of great stuff coming up, NFL draft oriented, and of course connected back to my community that I grew up in Syracuse, New York. Airon Servais first, then Coach Hicks. Inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. And you need to get your popcorn ready by going to Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com, because we are broadcasting worldwide, which means you could be listening and watching from anywhere. You can go to Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com and order today and have it delivered to your home. And those of us here in Central New York, we can pop right inside and at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, and enjoy them there. So, with that being said, we're also going to be announcing our winner of our second chance bracket challenge for Ma and Pa's. There's only one person that picked the right team to win the championship. So we have a winner, and that winner is going to get a free bag of the flavor that's associated with the team that won, which was Buffalo Cheddar for the Kansas Jayhawks. So we'll announce that on social media today. So make sure you stay close to us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, the Twitters at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And of course, coming up next, my guy, Airon Servais. We get to have a conversation to remember, as we always do. Coming up next with this gentleman as he tells his story and why the NFL should consider to bring him in and give him an opportunity. So very much looking forward to what's coming up with Airon Servais right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town. Bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome here back to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. You're hanging out with us here on mixlr.com, facebook.com, and youtube.com, all / Wake Up Call DT, streaming worldwide. And of course, you can also catch us on facebook.com / live now DT and on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage. It is my honor and my privilege, as always, for I think it is 7 years now that I think that I've lived in 3 different places in the time that I've known this man. I've moved twice, and that is Mr. Airon Servais, and not Airon Servais, but Airon Servais, my guy, and always happy. And it's so awesome because to me, this is such a long time coming of the opportunity for the NFL. I have been a fan of Airon Servais since the moment we first talked when he was getting recruited. He decided on Syracuse, came to Syracuse. We've spoken all the way through. And now it's time for the NFL draft and an opportunity inside of professional football. So it is my incredible honor, and I'm very humbled by the fact that I get to welcome back to the show for episode 357 together, Mr. Airon Servais. Airon, how you doing today?
I'm good. That was a hell of an introduction. I appreciate it. It's great to be here.
You deserve it, man. And I got to tell you, the beard is nicely trimmed, so I think you're ready for the interviews and all that stuff. You've cleaned yourself up. How long is the hair? Still long and proud and ready to go?
Yeah, it's in the bun right now, but I definitely still got it.
I got to ask you about this. What inspired the growing out of the hair? As it was like the longer you were at Syracuse, the longer the hair got. What was the inspiration?
I think like growing up, I always wanted to try growing out my hair, and I never could. I always kept getting haircuts, but then once I finally went to college, I experimented with the mullet a little bit my senior year. Yeah. And then when I finally got into college, I was like, you know what, let's just grow it out, see what happens. If it looks bad or whatever, if I don't like it, I can just cut it off. And I just never cut it off.
I think that offensive linemen are the ones that get away with it. You know, you can grow it out, you can bun it up, but it's like, you guys are supposed to be big, burly dudes, and it just makes sense to have the long hair and have that rocking and rolling, and you can do a lot of stuff with it. But, speaking of doing a lot of different things, perfect segue from hair to the field, but you played center, you played left tackle, you played right tackle at Syracuse. You were asked to go all over the place, and I remember a couple of years ago when I said, well, it was like 2 weeks before the season, and I said, Airon, where's everybody set up? And you're like, well, we don't really know yet. It's kind of just an open season. And and I believe that season you played at least 2, if not 3 positions. What did you take away from the fact that you were playing on more than half of the positions on the offensive line in college?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me is just wanting to be on the field. So kind of when I first started my career, I was just wanting to be on the field, wanting to be there with my guys. And then as my career progressed a little bit and I really solidified myself as one of those starters, then it was really about finding the best combination of 5 guys to put on the field. So if that meant me being at tackle to have the best 5 on the field, then I played tackle. If it meant me at center to have the best 5 guys on the field, then I played center. Yeah, I mean, I pride myself in being able to play all those different positions, and it means a lot to me to be able to do that so I can be on the field with my guys, helping them out, and just setting up the team for, the best success that we can have.
Syracuse Orange offensive lineman, alum. What is it like for you to hear me say alum at the end of that?
I don't know if it's quite set in yet. I haven't been on campus for the last few months. I did my training and stuff at home. But yeah, it's still weird. I was able to attend the spring game, and it was definitely weird. That was my first time ever seeing a Syracuse football event from the sidelines. During my recruiting and stuff, I didn't go out to a game, or I didn't get to see the spring game. So yeah, it was definitely weird. It's definitely a change.
And as we look at you going to Pro Day and having the opportunity there, we got to see a few different things. I got to see, work on your direction and obviously your footwork and your ability to make decisions on the fly when they were kind of directing you at whatnot. I got to see you do, I believe, the 3-cone and also to take some time there with working on snapping the ball under center. What can you say about, your overall take on Pro Day and what you took away from different things that you were involved in, different drills and things that you did, just how you looked at Pro Day overall?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good experience. I went through my whole career going and watching those Pro Days and seeing, other guys that I played with, try to make their dreams come true. And to be the one that finally did it was a little bit weird again. Just because I've been watching it for so many years, but it was definitely a cool experience to be in front of all those different scouts and show them what I got.
And, looking back on Pro Day, what do you think you did well? Do you have a place where you felt like you got a lot of good feedback?
Well, I PR'd on my broad jump, which is pretty cool. I wasn't expecting to do that. But yeah, I think the biggest thing, especially for O-line, is the field work, the position specific kind of stuff they run you through, like towards the latter part of the Pro Day. And I thought I did that stuff really well. I feel like I move well in space. So I think that was a good time to really show them, what I'm capable of.
And you say you PR'd on your long jump. For those who don't know, go into exactly what that means for you.
Yeah, so the broad jump is you basically just stand on a line and you jump as far forward as you can. So yeah, and I ended up PRing by 5 inches. So yeah.
And so for you, was that something you anticipated and you expected in your training, or did you surprise yourself in the broad jump?
I surprised myself a little bit. I thought with the adrenaline stuff, I would have a little bit of a, motivation or whatever.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting to PR quite as much as I did. It felt good to put that jump out there.
And for you to work on some of those drills toward the end of Pro Day when you were hiking the ball and whatnot, what were they hoping to get out of you in that respect? What were they looking for, or did they give you any notes as far as technique? Because, you were just standing under center. One of the scouts came over and you were hiking it, and then just and there wasn't anybody up against you. You're just hiking it and then taking off. What were they looking for in that?
I think the biggest thing for that is just seeing how I move and seeing, the base technique that I have going in. Wanting to see if I can get out of my stance, how I can move when I get out of my stance, different things like that. Yeah, just how I move in space and what my footwork looks like.
And footwork and speed and the ability to respond to direction quickly. When they were doing this with all you guys, essentially telling you to go and then sending you and directing you back and forth. And and then you have to take off and have that speed burst at the end. How do you feel you did in taking quick direction, your footwork, your ability to shift, and then your takeoff at the end, kind of how you viewed all of that?
Yeah, I think I did well. The change of direction stuff is huge, especially on the O-line. It'd be nice if the D-line just rushed in a straight direction, but they don't. So being able to change direction and to do it quickly is huge.
For you, seeing the teams that came out for Pro Day and, over a dozen of them that were there from the NFL, did you have any nerves, any feeling? I mean, being at Syracuse for such a long time, getting an extra season of eligibility, knowing that this day was coming, and you've really gotten to put a large amount of work on film. Did you have any jitters? Did you have any butterflies when you saw, you walk in and you see all these people standing there and they're wearing that polo shirt from that team and that sweatshirt and whatnot? I mean, what was that like for you to see that, and did you feel that at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some nerves involved. I don't think that I would say they were bad nerves, though. Yeah. Really, I was excited to go through the drills and show them what I've got. I mean, I've been training for the last 2-3 months, for that day. So it was time to put it all out there.
I believe the Packers were there.
They were. Yep.
So what was that like for you? Somebody coming from Wisconsin.
That was definitely cool to see them there. And I had already known that I was going to go to their pro day, but still the fact that they were there was really cool. Yeah, for sure.
What were the conversations like? Did you get to chat with any of the scouts?
A little bit of chit chat kind of at the end with a few different teams, but nothing too serious. I think most of them got out of there pretty quick afterwards.
Takeaways that you got from pro day? Any type of constructive criticism, thoughts? What were the notes from Pro Day for you?
Not a ton of feedback directly from the scouts, but my agent was there. He was in attendance, so he talked to me a little bit. And, overall, it was a good experience, good showing.
You're the only offensive lineman coming out for Syracuse, the only offensive lineman at Pro Day. What was that part of it like? Because there's 4 D linemen out there doing their thing and running their drills, and then you got 2 guys on the offensive side, Abdul at running back and you on the O-line. What was that piece of it like for Pro Day to know that you were the only offensive lineman and you were kind of, doing a lot of stuff individually to showcase yourself because you were the only one there?
Yeah, I think like going back to the nerve part a little bit, I think leading up to Pro Day itself, I think that was probably the thing I was the most nervous about, was being the only O-lineman. Just because a lot of those drills that they run us through are so rapid fire, there's not a lot of time for rest. When you got more guys in the group, you get that extra couple seconds to take a breath. But luckily, the scouts were pretty nice to me, and then they gave me a good amount of time to catch my breath after we did a certain drill. So it really wasn't too bad.
As a big guy out there, so many people put so much emphasis on speed. When you look at what you did speed wise, and you go to maybe the 3-cone drill and whatnot, how do you view what you did as far as showing them what you can do as an offensive lineman in your get off and your ability to, like you said, use your footwork, change direction, and in the 3-cone really to be able to move in and out of things? You obviously can't hit the cones and whatnot. So what did you think you showed them from that perspective, knowing that speed always seems to be part of the conversation in the draft?
Yeah, well, a lot of the thing with those kind of drills is they're so technical. Like every single step is mapped out. Everything you do with your body positioning, how you're going to touch, all that stuff, it's super, super technical. So there's kind of 2 components. One is getting the correct technique down, and then 2 is putting everything you got into it, the speed and that stuff. So yeah, I mean overall they're looking for that number to see what that number is, but then 2, I think they're looking to see how clean is the rep, what does it look like. Yeah.
Did you bench on Pro Day?
I did, yeah.
How do you feel you did in that respect?
That's one thing I'm not too happy with. I tweaked my pec a little bit. So that definitely affected my numbers, going on for the rest of the day. But, I was able to work through it and finish the day strong. So, yeah, I felt good about it.
So in something like that, if you have a tweak or something that's going on with you and whatnot, where do you go from there with your agent? Do you take some time and heal that up and then go out and bench and shoot some video and get that out to scouts and whatnot? Like, how are you proactive in saying, okay, I wasn't feeling 100% in my body, but I want to show you what I can do? So is there like a healing process, and then let's get to the video, let's put this thing out there and let's let them see it? Is there an intent to do something like that?
So I mean, yeah, there's definitely an intent to heal it up. But in terms of doing that kind of stuff, from what I know, I don't think scouts really will consider stuff like that, like videos and things like that. I think most of the time they only really trust the numbers that they get either from other scouts or from an event like a pro day, something like that. So no, I don't plan on taking a video in the next couple of weeks to show them what I really got, because I just don't know how much they'd really take that into consideration.
So knowing, as a college football player that wants to make it to the NFL, speaking here with Airon Servais, spent many years at Syracuse as a center, left tackle, and right tackle, and here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal studios. Airon, knowing that there's really a couple opportunities, right? There's the combine and there's pro day, and that's it. So knowing when pro day is your day and so few people get invited to the combine, did you feel like you left it all out on the field in pro day, and outside of tweaking your muscle and whatnot? Do you look back on pro day, hindsight 2020, now that you've had a few days from that, and do you feel like you left it all out there for the scouts?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I did. The pec thing it's not ideal, but at the end of the day, I gave everything I had, and especially for linemen, the pro day is obviously important, but it's not going to make or break you. Luckily, I've got a good store of game film that they're able to break down and look at. I think the film is the real big thing. But yeah, in terms of pro day, I definitely gave it everything I had, and I'm proud of the effort that I put into it. Absolutely.
From what you understand of the process, what do you think scouts are looking for the most in an offensive lineman? What do you think are the key ingredients that you really need to showcase?
I mean, I would say number one is the eye test. Does he look like an NFL guy? But then after that, it comes down to, I think, just how you're able to control your body. When you're a big guy like O-line, D-line, some guys can, and you can see it too when you watch games, you can see some guys are natural in their bodies and then other guys don't look quite so natural. So I think that's definitely something they look for. But yeah, I think just explosion, power, especially for our position, that's really important. So yeah, I think that's a few of the things that they take in.
6'6", at least 300 pounds. I mean, to you, is that the eye test? Are you good with, and what was your weight when you came into pro day?
307.
Okay, so at 307, 6'6", to you, were you looking the part and feeling good body-wise in that sense?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Absolutely.
So Airon Servais here with us, and speaking on pro day and speaking about the opportunity for the NFL. Why should the 32 franchises take a look at you? Like you said, there's the eye test, there's the film and whatnot, but then there's other things, right? It's who you are, it's what you're about, it's how you are in the locker room, it's how you respond to adversity. So NFL scouts that are watching right now, what do you say to them?
That's a good question. I think for me is I appreciate the mental aspect of the game hugely. I think that's what first allowed me to get on the field at Syracuse. And then I think I also have a unique body frame that allows me to play all three positions. It doesn't really mean much if you mentally know how to play the position, but you can't physically do it. So I think I'm unique in the sense that I'm able to mentally understand all of that while physically being able to do so as well. And in terms of, locker room and stuff, I've always tried to be a leader on the team. In 2019, I was named a team captain. And I don't even know if I, purposely tried to go do that. It's just kind of the role that I feel like I naturally took on, especially being a center. My redshirt freshman year, I got used to that role of kind of making the calls and doing that stuff, and I think I did a fairly good job at it. Yeah, I think I have a few unique things that allow me to be a good football player. Yeah.
And I want to look back on your history. Redshirted in 2016 and in 2017 as a redshirt freshman, your first collegiate football season on the field. You started all 12 games in your first time on the field in college football, started all 12 games in the ACC, led Syracuse with 1,036 snaps played, and had 36 knockdown blocks. Bring me into that. The fact that as a redshirt freshman, you were a starter for all 12 games, not played, but started in all of those games as a freshman, and had over 1,000 snaps that you played in that. Just the importance of the fact that you came out immediately pushing after your redshirt season, found your way onto the field, found your way to be a starter, remained on the field. It's hard enough to get on the field, get a starting job, then stay, which a lot of people don't look at that side of it once you get there, and to log over 1,000 sacks as a freshman, or 1,000 snaps as a freshman.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. There were a couple injuries at the end of that 2016 season on the O-line that by the time that spring ball came around, there were some guys down, which gave me an opportunity to step in. And I think, I really just gave it my all, and the coaches liked what they saw. So by the time that the end of spring ball was coming out, I was a starter then. So then I was kind of throwing the fire in the spring, which is really nice because obviously there's no games played. So it's a great time to learn, great time to start building chemistry with the other guys on the line. And then, going into summer, I just kept staying in the film room, working on my craft on the field, and then going through camp and stuff, just continuing to build upon what I had began to do in the spring, set me up for the rest of that 2017 season.
And we look at 2018 as a redshirt sophomore, you had over 1,100 snaps, 13 starts, 36 and a half knockdown blocks, so consistent there. Just bringing me into that side of it, again, to become a starter, remain a starter, and to be on the field consistently for the team. And I do want to make mention, too, back to that redshirt freshman season, that you were on an offense that ranked third in the ACC of 14 schools with over 450 yards per game, and second in passing with 294.8. And obviously, you don't get that many passing yards if you're not protecting your quarterback. So just bring me into, I think that sometimes we look at the numbers of the offensive line as a whole, and we don't see these other pieces, right? Because there's some times where there was adversity on the Syracuse offensive line, but there's also the fact that there's protection there that's allowing your quarterback to get almost 300 yards per game and the team to have over 450 overall yards per game. So just what you could say about that as a redshirt freshman, and then coming back in your sophomore season to have over 1,100 snaps and start all the games there as well.
Yeah. So I think one of the big things that really helped us. So unfortunately in that 2017 season, Aaron Roberts went down with an ACL, I believe. So Sam Heckel, another redshirt freshman, was starting next to me at left guard. Wow. So I think him and I kind of came together. It's both of our first seasons, so we really pushed each other to excel, to be at that level that the other guys on the line are at. So we put in a ton of time outside of the normal meetings and practice and things like that. We really pushed each other because it meant a lot to us, and we were both sitting in similar positions. So it was nice to be able to get that extra work. And I think like that, spending that summer and that off season leading up to that, just doing all that stuff with Heckel, I think it really helped set me up mentally for the rest of my career. That's where I really learned the offense, and where I was able to start learning more than just the one position I was playing. But yeah, so I think that really helped us. And then the fact that I've been doing it since spring ball, the chemistry part of it is absolutely huge in O-line play. All five of us got to be on the same page. If even one of us is a little wrong, it could be a massacre in the backfield. So being able to build that chemistry was huge. And then going into 2018, we got Aaron Roberts back. And we had some of those guys that were on the field last year. I think everybody came back. And the chemistry just kept building and kept building. We were getting stronger in the weight room. We were getting, faster and smarter on the field. And I think that's what really kind of led into that, success that we saw in 2018.
Yeah, and then we go to 2019. You mentioned being a co-captain of the offense, along with my guy running back, Mo Neal, and the Ben Schwartzwalder Award winner as the team's exemplary football player. What does it mean to you to be named the exemplary football player? How would you define what it means to be exemplary, and what it was like for you in your third season to be considered a leader by your peers?
Yeah, so that's another interesting one. That I never really felt like I was doing anything specifically above and beyond what anyone else had been doing. It always felt like I was doing something that I was supposed to be doing. In terms of like my leadership and things like that, I'm not as much of a vocal leader, but I definitely like to lead by example. I pride myself in doing that. And I think just the coaches and other guys on the team took notice. And it was certainly an honor to be recognized in that way.
And in that redshirt junior season of 2019 at Syracuse, speaking here with Airon Servais, NFL draft prospect for 2022, who's played multiple positions on the offensive line. In 2019, you had 8 starts at center, 4 starts at left tackle. This is where we start seeing you have to be multiple. And I think at one point that season, in the middle of a game, you had to shift over to center. So just bring me into not only having to play 2 positions on the offensive line in a season, but to have to play 2 positions in one game.
Yeah, so going into so I originally came to Syracuse as a tackle. And that spring after the 2016 season is when I first tried center. And I did well there. But then in 2019, I ended up moving back out to tackle, and I believe Heckle was our center at the time. And the game of football, a lot of freak things happen. I think a little bit, like maybe a minute or 2 before half, Heckle ended up going down in that first game of the 2019 year. So back to the best 5 on the field thing again. They asked me to move back to center so we could have the best available 5 on the field, and I did it without question.
What does that show NFL teams, that not only can you play multiple positions, but that you can shift to another position at halftime?
I'd like to think that it shows them that I'm smart to be able to do that. Obviously, practicing out of position, there might be little things that I'll miss here and there. But it also helps. I had played that position for 2 years at that point. So at that point, I was more experienced as a center than I was as a tackle. So moving back to center, it wasn't, unfamiliar.
You have had, at the center position, you've had multiple quarterbacks to hike the ball to. On the offensive line in general, you have had the Eric Dungeys, the Tommy DeVitos, the Garrett Schraders, Jacoby and Morgan. I mean, you've had multiple players under center. How do you as an offensive lineman adjust, and what should NFL teams know about what you did? You talk about being strong mentally in the game and not just physically. What can you say you did to be a chameleon, so to speak, I know blocking is blocking, but different quarterbacks have different skill sets and they do different things, and you might have to hold longer for one of them and the other one might take off. And, Dungey was very different than DeVito and so on and so forth. So how did you learn how to live in each of those worlds with different quarterbacks? And what would you say to an NFL team about what you learned?
Yeah, so I think with playing different quarterbacks, especially, if one were to go down mid-game, the only big difference that you really notice up front between QBs is like timing of the cadence. But once you get familiar with that, with the quarterback that you're with, really it's just playing to the whistle up front. Because if you're playing to the whistle, No matter what's going on behind you, you're going to be doing your job. So in terms of, you got guys like Dungey that are a little bit more mobile, or guys like Garrett that are a little bit more mobile, will leave the pocket, things like that. As long as you're playing to the whistle, you'll still be blocking for him no matter where he is. And same thing, if you got guys that aren't quite as mobile, that stick in the pocket a little bit more, same thing. As long as you're playing to the whistle, you're going to do your job.
How much of it, and this is in no way me saying point a finger, it's just an understanding element of it, because I think a lot of people speak for athletes instead of letting athletes speak for themselves. Mm-hmm. So when adversity struck on Syracuse's, offense in general and in moving the ball and whatnot, when sacks were allowed and things happened and things broke down, how much of that, in your opinion, is on a quarterback holding on to the ball too long or maybe not getting out of the pocket? And how much of it is on the offensive line? Because I think it's important for you to speak, and really any offensive lineman to speak, because you guys never get thanked, but you always get criticized. So I'd love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I think in that aspect, it's what people don't understand is it's hard to win football games. So in terms of, the O-line or QB or whatever it may be, if both of those units, aren't doing what they need to do, there's going to be issues. So, there could be a game where, the QB is balling, but if the O-line, isn't doing what they need to be doing, it doesn't matter how much the QB's balling, it's going to be hard to win that game. And then vice versa. Maybe the O-line is playing spectacular, but a QB or someone, isn't having a great day. Again, it can be hard to win a football game. So I think you really can't point a finger. There's a lot of different things that go on. But yeah, that's what I got for that.
And in 2020, your first senior season, because COVID allowed a double senior season for you and for anybody that was in that situation, in 2020, started all 11 games again. So 4 years in a row, starting all the games. And for people to know, spoiler alert, you started all the games all the way through your career. Longevity, consistency, trust, health. There's a lot of things to be said about someone who steps onto the field as a freshman and a sophomore and a junior and a senior and a super senior. And I'm talking 5 seasons where you started in every single game, which means you stayed healthy, which means you stayed focused, you stayed consistent, you were trusted by your teammates, you were trusted by your coaches, and you did what you needed to do because you played 3 different positions within those 5 years. What can you say about that? You can't teach consistency, and obviously things happen and injuries happen out of our control. How did you keep your body available every game for 5 years?
Well, there's 2 parts to that answer. So the first part is luck. A lot of it really is just luck. You do everything that you can to stay healthy. Playing with great technique helps you stay healthy. But there's a portion of the game where it's really just luck. And through my career, I was lucky enough to stay healthy enough to be on the field. But then when you do have injuries, minor or major, it's really important to get on top of them right away. You got to be in the training room. You got to be putting in the work to stay on the field. So anytime I had any little injury, I was always in the training room, rehabbing it, getting my treatment. And, luckily there's a fantastic training staff over at Q's that really takes care of us. And they definitely played their part in keeping me on the field. I wouldn't have been able to do it without them. But yeah, so part of it is just staying on top of the injuries and keeping everything as manageable as possible. And then the other part, the part you can't control, is just the luck.
Who do you want to give credit to on Syracuse's strength and training staff?
Can I say everybody?
Yeah, you can. I think it's fair to shout people out. You know, you gave them kudos here, and I'm all about making sure that they know who they are. So.
Yeah, I mean, Coach E, he runs a tight ship in the weight room. He makes sure that everybody's bodies are right for the season, and he keeps our bodies right during the season. The guys that have worked for him, Coach Caton, Coach Sobel, who's now at Kent State, all those guys definitely played a huge part. And then in the training room, the last few years, the main man was Tim Pike, and then Brandon Hall, Allison. All of them had a part, even way back in my career. Denny. All those people played a huge part in keeping me on the field, and I'm forever grateful to them.
There were moments in your career, like you said, staying on top of minor injuries and different things. There were times where the media asked the question, how did he come back out there onto the field? Did you have that spray that they have for like the World Cup where the guy can't walk and then they spray his leg and he's like a gazelle? Going back to, this past season of 2021, grit, tenacity, fire, adrenaline. How did you get in some of these moments, if you want to share, whatever you want to share, how did you stay on the field? Because, there were just moments where it would have been easy to just say, hey, you know what? I need a break. I'm going to stay to the side here. But you somehow found a way to be some sort of a Doctor Strange, I guess, a magician of sorts.
Yeah, when stuff happens, in game and things like that, sometimes you just need a little extra tape to maybe keep something a little more stable. Maybe a little bit of numb juice that always helps. But really, it's just, for me personally, I just had such a desire to be on the field, whether we were winning the game, losing the game. It was close. It was not close at all. I wanted to be on the field. I wanted to finish each game with the guys up front. And that's how I went about my whole career. Even in practice, I wanted to be on the field. I hated to be on the side, watching all the guys go through it, and I'm not able to do anything. So if there's any way that I'm able to be on the field and play with those guys, I did it.
And I think that's a huge thing to speak to the NFL here with 2022 NFL draft prospect playing at center, right tackle, and left tackle at Syracuse University for the Orange, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal studios, featuring Wisconsin native Mr. Airon Servais. Airon, your final season, your super season, you started all 12 games again, and we're out there for the entire season. 2 at right tackle, last 10 games at center, and in 2020, 3 games at left tackle before going to right tackle. So, it's like you look at this and you say, okay, started all these games, but it's left, and then it's right, and then it's right, and then it's center. How did you figure out a way? I know we talked about different things of just being able to do it and willing to do it and mentally prepared, but you don't have a season you can reach back to where you were just in one place. You were always used where needed, right? To be the Swiss Army knife of the offensive line. So does that help you, or does it hurt you that you don't say, hey, I have 47 starts at left tackle? It's like, I have this many at left tackle, I have this many at center, I have this many at right tackle. What does that do for you, especially in your final 2 seasons where you're splitting time from tackle to tackle and then tackle to center?
Well, I think when we are talking in terms of going to the next level, I think it helps me. I think the fact that I've played those different positions allows the teams to kind of make a decision. Some teams might see me as more of a tackle. Some teams might see me as more of a center. So in terms of going to the next level, it lets them pick, okay, we see this guy as a tackle. Let's put him there and then really start building him up at that spot, or, vice versa for the center. Some teams might see me at center, like, okay, let's put him there and let's let him grow in that spot. So I think it helps me at this stage, just because, teams can do what they want with me.
For you, do you have a preference? Left side, right in the middle? I mean, you've gotten to play the anchors and you've gotten to play the dead center of it. Do you have a place where you feel is more of a sweet spot?
Now I think just in terms of time spent at the position, center is probably my spot. Just because I have so much time playing there. But again, I wouldn't say I feel uncomfortable out at the tackle spots. But yeah.
So for you, like you said, time spent there, did you anticipate that? Did you anticipate that you were going to spend so much time at center? Did you really feel like that was going to be something that happened for you, that center would be a place that you would have most of your hay? Because I know, like you said, you came in as a tackle, and in my brain, you were going to be the left tackle. You're going to be the blind spot guy. So coming out of it saying, hey, I feel comfortable at center, and you played so much there. Did you ever anticipate that was going to happen?
No, not even a little bit, to be honest. When I first arrived on campus, they did have me at that left tackle spot. And, going through camp and everything, I managed to crack the two deep. Yeah. But they wanted to redshirt me, obviously, so I ended up, not being in that two deep rotation. And then because of different injuries and stuff, like 3 or 4 games in the season, I went over to the scout team and I played guard at the scout team, just because that was the best spot for me to step in. And then coming out of that season in spring ball, I was at right guard, and I played there for a little bit. I want to say like a week or two. And then, I guess the coaches have been watching the practice film and all that. And they said, let's see what he looks like at center. So they told me in the meeting, and then the next morning I was thrown into the fire at center. So I didn't have a ton of preparation time, but and they knew that, they understood that. They really just wanted to see how I reacted and how I played. And, I played good enough to hold that spot for the next, few years.
Did they ever tell you why they felt so good with you? Like what they saw with you at center that felt so right?
Not explicitly. I think I felt like I was close with the guys. I felt like they trusted me. I think trust in the center is a huge thing. Because for our offense, centers make a lot of calls at the line in any offense that happens. But in our offense specifically, there's a lot that's put on the center in terms of making calls and things like that. So I think those guys just really trusted me, and they trusted the calls that I made out there. Even if I made some mistakes, I did it with confidence. The guys playing next to me weren't really questioning things. And if they did have a question, usually I could give them some sort of an answer. So like maybe if we got a funky look or something, I could at least get everybody on the same page. I think a lot of them, not only from the coaches, but from the other guys that I was playing with, I think there was just a lot of trust there that was built over time.
Best attributes that you think you have as a center?
Best attributes as a center. I'm smart. I really love studying the game. I love understanding defenses. To me, it kind of seems like all these different pressures and stuff, it's almost like a dance, the way your responsibilities might change in the middle of a play. If your guy goes backside, well, that means the guy that the backside guy that he was going to, he can't get there anymore. So then you kind of have to change there, but you can't really like think about like, oh, whose guy was that? You just kind of you have to move and be fluid in the play. And that's something that I've really come to appreciate in the last few years of playing. I'm athletic. I can move around. I'm tall. I think those are a few things that I am strong with.
The timing of it all, right? Making sure that it's, again, people not knowing because they just watch and they think it's supposed to be easy because snapping the ball shouldn't be hard to them and whatnot. I mean, I was watching you at Pro Day have to do it, and just how you do it and how you set it. And I'm looking at the mechanics of it all, and I'm like, people think that it's easy because you know what I mean? It's like repetitious, but it's not that easy to, do that the way you're the first person that touches the football. Mm-hmm. You are the person that is in control of the game in that moment. You're holding on to that ball, you're calling things out, you're seeing different things, you're pointing, and you need to be on pace. You have to be right on par with your quarterback. Bring me into, you talk about the art of the dance. How about the art of the snap and what you take from that?
Yeah, so in terms of like the snap itself, that was definitely one of the things that took me the longest to become comfortable with, especially when you first get there, and a lot of people that don't understand, a lot of people think it's snap and step, but really it happens at the same time. So depending on what the play might be, I'm snapping, but the ball hasn't even left my hand yet before I've already got my first step in the ground. And, depending on the direction you're going, if it's a run or pass, that can change how the snap looks. So you kind of have to adjust things like that. It can be a lot, but, just practicing and working at it, I was able to become, proficient at it.
The evolution of the run game, something that I consider to be synonymous with Syracuse. We talk about pass blocking. On the run blocking side of it, having Sean Tucker for these last 2 seasons and seeing what he's done, and he set the single season rushing record in Syracuse history, passing Joe Morris and company, the Jim Browns, the Ernie Davises, the Floyd Littles, and so on and so forth as well. What can you say about the evolution of the offensive line in the last 2 years? Because everybody's going to look at Sean, but I want to know what the offensive line did right to help facilitate a strong running game the last 2 years.
Yeah, so I think when Sean first stepped in, I think we all saw, there's something special here.
Yeah.
So I think that's really where we started to put a massive emphasis on our run game. And, Coach Schmidt has done a great job of implementing the techniques and creating run game plans that are not only going to play to the weaknesses of the defense, but play to our own strengths. So I think a lot of it starts from the top with the coaching. And then it just comes down to, for us, just getting the reps, getting the work, really buying into what Coach Schmidt is teaching us. And I think that played a lot for us. It makes it also makes it easy when you got a guy like, Sean Tucker behind you. He's definitely a special guy. And, it was an honor to be able to block for him as long as I did.
What do you learn from being on an offensive line that never had the same 5 guys for an entire season?
You learn how to adjust. That's the nature of the game. Going back to the luck aspect of it, you're lucky if you finish a season with all front 5 guys. I think that's something that was really unique about our 2018 season is we had, all those guys through the whole season. And I think that is part of what led to our success. But I think outside of that year, every single year, someone has gone down, and that's just the nature of the beast. You got to be able to have that next man up mentality. The guys that are 2s have to practice as if they're going to be going into the game. And if something does happen where another guy has to come in, we just got to be able to roll. You got to be able to step in and do your job.
You're heading to the NFL, God willing. You have had multiple position coaching changes, multiple offensive coordinating changes. You have seen quarterbacks come and go. You have seen the guys on either side of you come and go. If anybody knows what it's like to live in a business, you learned it collegiately in so many different ways. How did Syracuse, through just sheer reality and happenings of life, teach you how to handle the NFL with the change in offensive linemen, running backs, quarterbacks, offensive coordinators, and position coaches?
That's a really great question. The biggest thing that I learned in regard to all that stuff is just control what you can control. There's no point in worrying about things that you have no power over. Ultimately, I have power over myself and my work ethic and how I go about it. My mentality, the work that I put in, all of it. I can control that stuff. I can't control everything else. So when things start shaking up and all that, I just remind myself, control what I can control, and I don't worry about all the other stuff.
And I can appreciate that and respect that. Control the controllables. You tried your best to control everything that you could. Being on this team and being an offensive lineman, what can you say about McKinley Williams, Cody Roscoe, Josh Black, and Kingsley Jonathan? You talk about controlling what you can control and doing your part. When you have those four gentlemen on the other side of you, what can you say about each of them individually that you think an NFL team should look at?
Yeah, I mean, those guys definitely gave me my handful of headaches throughout my career. The thing that I can appreciate the most about them is that they're all fantastic players, but they're very different in their style of play. So being at center, being at either tackle spot, I've had the opportunity to go against those guys many, many times in practice. And you kind of learn, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses may be. And it allowed me to learn all these different techniques and things that I can do. So when I see another rusher that's maybe similar to Cody or similar to Josh, I kind of already had those reps that I've taken against them that I can take against, these other guys. But yeah, those guys are really talented. Like Josh and Bear have been, at Q's the entire time with me, so I've gotten to know them really well over the last few years. Kingsley had a locker next to me. Cody's just down the way a little bit, so I've gotten to spend a lot of time with those guys. I've gotten to take a lot of reps with them, and they're really talented, really athletic guys.
Is there anything individually about each of them that you would say is noteworthy? Because you said they have different styles.
Yeah, I think Cody is strong. I don't know if people realize just how strong he is, but that dude is strong. And same with Josh. He's just a beast. He's hard to move. He's just a real strong guy. And then Bear and Kingsley, they're a little bit more finesse and speed guys. There's plenty of times where I've come off the ball with a full head of steam at center against Bear, and it doesn't matter how much I bring him. One quick swim move and I'm, useless. So yeah, Bear and Kingsley definitely have more of the finesse, a little more of the speed stuff. But yeah, I can't say enough about those guys. They're fantastic football players, and they're fantastic men as well.
There's a guy that I told you about this before, and I thought it was awesome because I called you something and he called you the same thing, and we didn't know that we both said it until we had a conversation. But Chris Bleich and I both call you Grandpa because you were on the line for so long at Syracuse. What can you say about the reemergence of Chris Bleich and what people should be prepared for?
Chris is a beast. He had been dealing with some injury stuff pretty much the whole time that he's been here. What I know, he's starting to feel good, and I think the next time you see him on the field, it'll be, hopefully it'll be his full potential. I've seen flashes of it here and there, but different injuries and stuff like that have held him back. But he's a beast. He's a great offensive lineman, and they can expect to see some great offensive line play when he's back on the field.
What about my guy Matt Bergeron? Came out striking and filled in when he needed to. What can you say about Berge as you would go from one tackle to one tackle, he might flip to the other one. So what can you say about Bergeron?
Berge is one of those guys that, he's a freak. He came in and, he already looked the part, even though he's, I think being from Canada, he's probably 19 at the time. But he came in looking the part. He goes about his work the right way. He's in the film room. He wants to know everything that he can. He wants to do everything that he can, and he's got some freakish athleticism that allows him to do what he wants as well. He's a smart football player, and he's a very athletic football player too. He's definitely an exciting guy to play with.
And I got to talk to the guys that were coming in. There was an influx of offensive linemen that came in last season. Tyler Magnuson, Kalen Ellis, Austin Cowhey, as well as Wes Ho, Enrique A. Cruz Jr., who I don't know if you know this, but him and I are going to run on the same ticket when I run for president. He's going to be my VP, and then we're going to flip. So what can you say about the young guns that are coming out?
I think the Syracuse offensive line is in good hands. Now, obviously, they're very young. They've got some maturing to do in terms of, like weight room and things like that, which is all normal. I had that same thing. They're hardworking guys. They're talented guys. And I feel good about that class for sure.
So final note here with Airon Servais inside of the Cafe Cubal Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You mentioned the term, and you know what it's all about, rapid fire. It's something we've done before. I put you on the hot seat. You put me on the hot seat. It's also cool because the NFL, from what I understand, will ask you some questions that are kind of out of left field, and they want to see your immediate answer and your ability to think on the fly. And you talk about, the mental side of things. So we're going to do 3 questions apiece. I'm going to defer to you first, and you can ask me anything you want.
I always forget that you do this. I have to prepare. I should have wrote something down.
Yeah. Anything in the world. Whatever.
All right, I'm first?
Yeah, you're first.
All right. I also don't want to ask questions I've already asked. So let's start with an easy one. Okay. Favorite pizza? What toppings are you getting?
Man, that's such a good question. I just had some pizza with Cody Roscoe, and I've realized that I love honey on my pizza. And I'm part Italian and part Calabrese, so from Calabria, and apparently they put honey on their pizza. But I'm big on pepperoni. I'm big on sweet, a little bit of honey. I like making fig and pig, so a little bit of fig on there with some prosciutto. But yeah, so I would say probably something in that respect, like sweet and savory, maybe some honey, maybe some pepperoni.
Have you been to a pizza in Syracuse?
I have, and I do know they have a Calabrian pizza.
I was going to say, they've got the one that's got, the pepperoni and the honey and stuff on there. That's a great.
Have you gotten it before? Have you gotten it?
I have, yeah. That's one of my favorites from there.
See, Airon, I already see. Listen, we were already friends, but it's brownie points at this point. My first one for you: favorite offensive lineman ever in the NFL.
Oh, that's a good question. I would say, current. I like David Bakhtiari. That guy's a stud. But all time, man. So I really grew up watching the Packers in like the 2000s, the mid to late 2000s. And I always liked Mark Tauscher. I thought he was a funny dude. I thought he had a good personality, and he was certainly a hell of a football player too. So yeah, he's definitely up there.
Yeah, you mentioned David Bakhtiari, and just coincidentally also a Packer. So just
right. That's what I grew up with, and those are the names that I heard a lot. So.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with it. I told you for a long time I want you blocking for Aaron Rodgers. So see what happens. What's your second one for me?
Let's see. Okay, if you weren't covering Syracuse football, what school would you be interested in covering?
So that's a great question. I cover the entire ACC. I cover the entire American Athletic. And then if you include in Notre Dame, that's 27 schools. Yeah. So I cover all college football, but those are the ones where I've interviewed and, gotten to know some players and coaches. So let me say somebody that's not within that group.
Yes, yeah.
So I would say that's the first one that popped into my head, probably because of the Smurf turf. I'd love to go over there and cover Boise State.
Yeah.
I'd love to get to know them. I'd love to go and cover Hawaii because then, I could be in paradise.
Right.
And my buddy, the Navy head coach, Kenya Matalolo's from there. So I would say probably Boise State or Hawaii, or I'm going to pick one more. I would probably want to be around, It's tough, but I'd probably have to pick LSU because I really like Louisiana.
Okay.
I'd probably say LSU. And their fans, when LSU came to the Dome, I did a live show with Rob Drummond. Shout out to my co-host and former Syracuse player and undefeated Syracuse player in '87, Rob Drummond. And Sean Tucker reminds me of him. So Rob and I did a show downtown, and the LSU fans, insane. It was like 5 or 6 people deep. There was a ton of people. There was like 220 people there in like this bar that's not that big here. And then there was some stuff downstairs. and they were incredible. They were so nice, so hospitable, just really, and they treated us like we were college game day. Mm-hmm. So, I probably want to go check out LSU.
I like that answer because I think it was 2017 when we went to their place and played them. And I just remember from that game, I was like, when you think of college football, mm-hmm. that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
I want to say, I think it might've been a 7:00 kickoff, but I know the game started like as the sun was coming down, and then the sun went down, the lights were on, the stadium's full. The atmosphere around the stadium is unreal. Just tents and fans and grilling as far as the eye can see. I think that's a good answer for sure.
Yeah, I said LSU fans can teach SU fans how to tailgate because I wanted to say that. My second one I love you SU fans. I just want to see more of you at the games. And I can say that. Aaron didn't say it. I did. So my second question for you is favorite childhood memory.
Favorite childhood memory.
Yes.
That's a good question. I would say immediately what popped into my head was when my family went to Disney World, and I was probably in like second grade or something like that. And we went down to Disney World. My mom put us up in the Nickelodeon hotel. So, I got to have breakfast with SpongeBob and Patrick and all them. That was a really fun experience for sure. Yeah, my grandma was there, my aunt was there. That was a lot of fun.
It's a good answer. Disney World is my favorite place to go. And
I haven't been back there since. I need to go back again.
Well, see, I've already prepared for my celebration of your good news. So after the draft, I'm going to Disney for us. So.
Excellent.
What's your last one for me?
Oh, last one. Man. I want to leave it on a good one.
Okay. Give me a mic drop one. What do you got?
I don't know if I've got a mic drop one, but Oh, here, let's see if we can win some of the fans back over. What's your favorite thing about Syracuse?
My hometown. It's blue collar. It's my people. I mean, listen, I call out wanting more fans in the stands because I want to show people what it's like when I grew up as a kid. I don't say it as a negative. I say it as a positive. My dad sat right next to me at a Syracuse-Pittsburgh game, and he was shouting, and I couldn't hear him.
Wow.
It was right next to my ear.
Yeah.
So, I want the place to be packed because I know what the Dome could be like when it's the Loud House. Before it was called the Loud House, it was the Loud House without needing to be called anything.
Right.
And, I was spoiled as a kid. So what do I love about my hometown? I love the Dome. I love the fact that we have one of the most notable arenas in all of sports history.
For sure.
I love the fact that, like I said, blue collar town. I get to work with a lot of the businesses, fantastic people, generations upon generation, 4 generations, 5 generations of families here. People work hard for their money. People are big on your word and keeping your word. There's so many beautiful things about Syracuse. I laugh when people say there's nothing to do. I think that's really funny. I think those are people that are just lazy or they don't have a big imagination.
Yeah.
And I would suggest that they hang out with somebody like you or I.
Yeah.
And maybe they could learn, and try some honey pizza.
Yeah.
But I think, what I love about Syracuse is, I came back here to start my business. And I was at 3 ESPN affiliates. I was here. I was in Scranton, PA. I was in Orlando, Florida. And then I worked with Fox Online, and I worked with a Yahoo affiliate here. And at 26 years old, I started my business, and my business will turn 10 years old this June 20th.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
That's amazing.
And thank you. Yeah. I mean, I came back here and people say, why did you leave Florida? Why'd you come back here? And I said, listen, it's in my home. If I'm going to put my name on the door, it's going to be in Syracuse. And, I love that my city is recognizable. I love wherever I go and I'm wearing anything Syracuse. People stop me. When I worked at Disney, people would see my badge and like almost every day or every other day. They'd be like, oh my God, did you see the game? Or what do you think about this? Or they just walk by and slap hands with you, not even know you. So the pride in the city is incredible. I think the grit in the city is incredible. I think the fight in the city is incredible. And I know nothing will keep us down. I know nothing will make us quit. And I want to believe there's good people here that you may not be able to find everywhere. So, Syracuse means the world to me. I just prefer to celebrate game days with 50,000 of my friends.
Well, I think that was a great answer.
Thank you. Yeah. My final question for you, your favorite game in the Dome ever?
Oh, I don't think it's a question. I think it's back in 2017 when we beat Clemson. I mean, when you talk about, you're a kid and you're looking over at your dad and he's shouting and you can't hear what he's saying, that's where I felt that. I remember those last few seconds after Eric got that first down where, I still got to be able to hear Eric so I can finish this game. So I'm trying to calm everybody down. I'm sure you've seen me do it several times in the Dome before. I'm like, hey, quiet down, because I can't hear a thing. We still have, 3 more snaps to run the clock out before the game's truly over. Yeah. And, penalties and stuff, we don't need any of that. But, yeah, that was an unreal moment. I think I was probably more tired with all the people on the field after the game than I was actually in the game. I just remember how warm it got down there, having, however many 100 people were on the field. Just trying to get through that crowd was exhausting. But it was definitely something I'll never forget. I know too, after that Eric made that first down, I took time to stop and look up at the crowd. I did a full 360. I made sure to really take it all in, and I'm seeing it in my head as I'm talking about it that moment. It was really something special. I'm getting goosebumps even just talking about it, and it's certainly something that I will never forget.
It's funny because you said goosebumps, and you're giving me chills thinking about it.
Yeah, I've got them right now.
Number 2 ranked team in the nation, reigning national champion, the mighty Clemson comes to Syracuse, and you took them down. And honestly, as one of the top 2, arguably greatest games in the history of Syracuse football in the Dome. They defeated number 1 ranked Nebraska in '83. Yep. So it's kind of right. I mean, it's right there with that. So
yeah, absolutely.
So with that being said, your 2022 NFL draft prospect, Airon Servais, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Airon, I know we've talked for 7 years, but in the spirit of our friendship, we are just getting started. And I hope that you will remember as you continue to move forward and enjoy everything that is to come in the next chapter. I hope that you will remember my number, and I hope that we will be able to do many more of these for years to come.
Absolutely. Next time I'm in town, we'll have to make a run over to a pizza.
And we'll make sure we take some time together. And, we got to do like a real Italian thing now. Got to make a phone call and shut it all down, and it's just you and I, and then a guy in the corner watching the door for us. That's what I want.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Thanks as always, Airon. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also, I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond. You can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you make your way out to the Millhouse Market today, or pardon me, every Tuesday through Sunday. And make sure you make your way out there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can have anything from them inside of their fantastic sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski, salads, as well as their brick oven pizzas, their homemade desserts and breads, anything that they have to offer to you while supplies last, which is I need to disclaimer that it is while supplies last. People go out there. It could be early in the morning, by noon, all those cookies are gone, the breads are gone. The Millhouse Market is not only an incredible place, the flavors are fantastic and unique to the Millhouse Market, and they go very quickly. So make sure you head out there to their general store with local products from local companies, as well as head out to the Millhouse Market for their drive-through pickup window and their indoor dining, where you can go and grab some pizza, some sandwiches, sit down, relax, and have yourself a good time. Open Tuesday through Sunday on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every single time is the Millhouse Market, so make sure you make your way out there. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life, we were just joined inside of the Cafe Kubal studios with my guy Airon Servais. Airon Servais played center, left tackle, and right tackle for the Syracuse Orange and is now moving forward with an opportunity after a bonus season to head forward to the NFL. So very excited for him and all of the gentlemen that will be stepping forward. And stepping forward here on the show today is Coach Will Hicks. Hicksy has been a part of Syracuse for a long time and a fantastic motivator, strength and conditioning guru, in my opinion, and somebody who's had a lot of connections to the NFL and continues to do so, to speak on the players that are moving forward. Airon Servais, McKinley Williams, a.k.a. Bear, Kingsley Jonathan, Cody Roscoe, as well as Josh Black and Abdul Adams, and to also take a look at the Orange and Blue game and bringing back two key quarterbacks in Don McPherson and Eric Dungey to come see the crowd again. So a lot of great stuff going on for the current Director of Development at SU, Mr. Will Hicks. So let's bring him into the broadcast. Hicksy, how are we doing today?
Doing great. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be with you. It's always a pleasure when I get to be on your show.
No, and I appreciate it, Coach. And you know what? And I don't know if I've said this to you, but what I love, I appreciate the person that you are and the man that you are, and I love our relationship. And I also feel like even though I was born in Syracuse, New York, a part of me was born in the South. So when I hear your accent, it does something for me, because I feel like what I eat and how I act sometimes and some of the music I listen to, that I was born in the South, and you bring me back to the South when I get to hear the voice.
Well, since I've been here since 2000, I've lost most of my accent. Now I sound like I'm from southern part of Manhattan.
So fair enough. Coach Hicks here with us today. And Coach, I want to go right to the Orange and Blue game. I mean, obviously, last year for Syracuse, the Dome reopened, fans were able to come in, but we didn't get to experience it the same way. This time around for the spring, to have the Orange and Blue game be what it is and to have the excitement that we got to have around it, just what your takeaways were from the festivities of the Orange and Blue game and really getting to see a true pads-on scrimmage between a bunch of different players on Syracuse's team that are obviously trying to figure out the roster.
Oh, no, it was really, really exciting. And like I said, there was a lot of stuff going on around it. The Syracuse Football Club did an outstanding job inviting back a lot of alumni. We used two suites, the Chancellor Suite and John Wildhack's suite to host them. You know, we had food and beverage. We brought back, through the help of Galaxy Communication, we had Dan Connolly, James Mungro, Eric Dungey, and Don McPherson were there early, and we're doing autographs for the fans and pictures with kids. It was just a great outpouring of alumni coming back to see it. Coach Babers and his staff extended an unbelievable welcome, and the next morning we had kind of a alumni brunch over in football with Coach Babers and some of his key staff members. Dion Maddox, who was actually in Coach Pasquale's first recruiting class here, is our director of player engagement and development, and he's been behind all that. And Coach Babers is doing a really, really nice job with trying to get alumni back involved. wanting information on athletes, wanting information on people in their area. Football players know other football players, and it's hard to see them all over the country. But we have an alumni somewhere that gets the information on a high school kid to myself or Dion. Coach Babers has said we're going to take a look at it and get an information and get an answer back to you. So that's really, really positive and really exciting.
Yeah, and Coach, speaking here with Will Hicks on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, one of the things I've wanted to see for a long time is local engagement in the community, engagement with the student athletes, and if and when there is a player of that D1 caliber status, that Dino is the first person there, or at least in the group of coaches that go there. So you just mentioned it a little bit. What you can say about maybe the evolution of that and maybe Dino and the staff's willingness to look at student athletes in the state of New York?
Well, and not just New York, because we have alumni everywhere. We're really hitting, the New Jersey area hard now. Dion Maddox has been outstanding because of his knowledge of a lot of the former players. Like I say, Coach Babers being very, very open and willing to listen to recommendations. It doesn't always mean they're going to like the player because whether they fit our system or not, but we understand that former players know players, and they respect that, and they're going to give them a look. John Wildhack actually is very instrumental in wanting our alumni back engaged, supportive, and involved. And we're, to the point that they let us know about people, and even just if a kid from a certain area, you may know a little bit about the kid that can help us in the process. You might have somebody go to church with his parents or coached him in Little League. Any little tidbit helps us in the relationships and helps us down the road in recruiting.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that connection. Dion Maddox coming onto the staff to assist in that. What can you say about what Dion Maddox has done since his return to Syracuse?
He's brought I think a kind of a sense of we got one of our own back in place. Dion is he's a first class individual. How much time you've ever spent with him? He's truly a representative of Syracuse University. He believes that S on his chest opened a lot of doors for him, and he believes that it's one of his responsibilities to get our young student athletes prepared, not only for what we're going to talk about now with these guys that got a chance to play at the next level, but to take that special Orange S out into the world and, do some of the things they came here for, to be better husbands, better fathers, better citizens, and to make a mark. And that's the one thing that Syracuse athletics is very good at.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like you said, to make sure that they're not only going out there and excelling in football, but excelling in life more so than anything, and being good people. Coach, you have had so many players come through, and you as a strength and conditioning guru, as somebody who has so many connections to the NFL and everything that you've done at Syracuse. I mean, you've been able to meet and be around so many tremendous student athletes. Is there one or two of them that is top of mind as to a story that you can tell that after Syracuse just really moved you?
There's a lot. If you watch Good Morning America around the Super Bowl, you saw Darrell Smith and his teaching people how to cook wings and meatballs for the Super Bowl. And, Darrell came here, was a player, bounced around the league as a player, came back, was a graduate assistant, finished the Newhouse program, and now he's all over television and all as a chef. He's got a meatball business and is doing great. But, our success we've had, what Troy Nunes has done, he works with Rob Conrad's company, and Troy Nunes is represents 50 NFL-type players in their wealth management deal. What Joe Burton's done in commercial real estate. It's just hard to even put a factor on one or two guys. We got Sam Rogers, a long snapper who's in politics and now is an assistant DA. I hate to even do this because I might forget somebody. Local that came back the other night, you talking about local, Todd Lisi, who played for us as an athletic director, around here now. Mike Acchion's the head coach at Salt Bay. I mean, so we got so many guys doing incredible things that we really realize that Syracuse opens a lot of doors athletically and academically and for the future, because we look for the right character individuals. Syracuse is an unusual place. I've been here since 2000. Everybody figured I'd head back south at my first shot. But something about this community, the way the school is and the way the character of Syracuse is, and it's not just the school, it's the area. Character means a lot here. And character has always meant a lot to me. I was an undersized guy that made it, and because of effort and attitude, and Syracuse is kind of that way. Effort and attitude takes you a long way.
Yeah, and that's two great notes there, effort and attitude, right? How much you put in and how you actually view life and how you view yourself and view others and how you treat people. So Coach Hicks here with us this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. And every time we talk, there's always a door opened, many doors open to conversations I want to have with you. And I feel like you could do, full-length featurettes on so many different players and so many different people that have, affected your life and done so, done so many great things with their effort and their attitude. And, during the Orange and Blue game, we see the return of two guys who, to a lot of people, are on the Mount Rushmore of Syracuse quarterbacks, them being Don McPherson and Eric Dungey. Having them back there, and I know you're on the field with them during the Orange and Blue game and whatnot, what did that do for you? And bring me into how we go about this. I know you mentioned Deion Maddox and the work that he does and whatnot, but bring me into what needed to happen to bring back Dungey, because I know he's been all over the country doing different things. And then, obviously he's had a connection to Syracuse. Don McPherson's done a lot with Syracuse, but the importance of having them there for that game and just what went into it and why you wanted them there.
Well, I dealt with our marketing people here on getting some former players back for autographs, and really all it took was a phone call. I mean, I talked to James Mungrove, who's great back here. He caught one of the record-tying passes from Peyton Manning with the Colts. Dan Conley, barring injury, might have been one of the greatest linebackers to ever play. And he's here local. Don McPherson, in nowadays football would probably have, with stats, would have won the Heisman. He finished second. Eric Dungey just wins. And, all it took to get them guys back was a phone call, because how much they believe in Syracuse, how much they believe in the program, how much they want to be around the people. And it was evident on the sidelines, just people walking down to the stands, to the wall, hollering their name, wanting pictures, shook hands, signed autographs, whatever they could do to help promote our fan engagement and the enjoyment of coming to a Syracuse event.
For Eric Dungey, I mean, he's obviously not that far removed from his time with the Orange playing here. What can you say about him? I mean, you have seen the tangibles and the intangibles, what a player has to offer on the field, off the field. I believe that Eric Dungey can catch on somewhere. I believe that Eric Dungey has the talent to play, has the talent to lead, has the ability to be multiple and to do different things, whatever's asked of him. I have always been a fan of Dungey since Tim Lester told me about him when he was going out to see him in Oregon. What is it that you see in Eric Dungey, and how would you describe him?
Well, he the other night he's here. He's got some USFL opportunities when it cranks back up. Such a quarterback-driven league. Everything you said is correct. I know he can win games. The NFL is so hard with a quarterback on everything they ask him to do as far as accuracy of throwing and some other things. Dungey's one of those, though, given a chance, all he does is win the game. He's proven it. We finally, by the end of his career here, we got him settled down enough that he didn't try doing somersaults over people and so reckless that he would hurt himself every now and then. But he's just a winner. And, he's a winner in everything. He's a great leader. He's a friend to everybody, and he's an outstanding football player. And he'll catch on. And if it doesn't quite work out for him with football, whatever company or whatever business that Eric Dungey decides to go into, you better buy stock quick because it'll do very, very well.
Yeah, and are you surprised, when we look at the NFL and he had, some time over with Cincinnati and then with Cleveland and different things. Are you surprised? And I know with the return of the XFL, there was some opportunity there. Now the XFL is coming back. The USFL is reemerging here in mid-April, and there's obviously the CFL. So there's a bunch of things, and then there's a fan control football. So there's the FCF, the XFL, the USFL, the CFL. There's a lot of things going on besides the NFL. When we look at the current environment and climate and evolution of football in America, do you feel like we'll eventually see Eric somewhere?
Yes. He's had some CFL opportunities, and he was kind of holding off for some other. We'll see him. The thing is it's such at that spot at a quarterback. We saw as good as Ryan Nassib was. An arm injury, or Ryan Nassib would still be in the NFL just because of his smarts and his leadership ability and the different things he had. I tell guys every year there's 32 NFL teams, so that means there's 32 NFL quarterbacks and a backup, so there's 64. And some of these guys like Brady that have been playing 20 years, that cuts it down to 63. Some of these guys that are perennial All-Pros, there's 8 or 10 of those, that cuts it down to into 50s. There's just not that many spots. And, there's hundreds of kids that play this game every year. But, Eric Dungey will land somewhere. And like I say, if it's not football, whatever it is, he's going to be outstanding because, the kind of person he is, kind of character he is, and a Syracuse education.
That coming here from Will Hicks on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. The other quarterback that we were talking about here inside the Cafe Q-Ball studios, Don McPherson, just what he's meant to the university and what he meant to be there at the Orange and Blue game as well.
Oh, class act. That's the only one you can say about Don McPherson. And he goes all over the country and speaks to different groups on his platform. And, respect and dignity and integrity and how to act. But he's a shining example of what a Syracuse athlete should be, can be, and what they can do with themselves past college, because he is a gentleman, a scholar, and represents the university in an unbelievable way.
For you, Coach Hicks, as we talk about who has come through, who is now coming through, who is in the moment of stepping forward, we have center, right tackle, left tackle, has played all 3 positions at Syracuse and also practiced at the guard position, so really has played all 5 positions with the Orange. Airon Servais, I want to start with him. We just had him on the broadcast before you here this morning in a video special as he steps forward to the NFL draft and the NFL in general. What is it about Airon Servais that you like? And what can you say, with you knowing so many scouts, knowing so many NFL teams, knowing what they're looking for from all of your work you've done over the years with pro days and whatnot, and in the great sport of football, what can you say about Airon Servais and what you think of him?
Well, he's got height and length, which is something you can't teach. He's got good hands. He's got a very good, quick first step. Tremendously smart player where he's able to play all spots. Him moving to center really proves that he has feet and balance. At the end, he might get a little high at times to be a left tackle, but he has a future, and I think he'll latch on and play with someone just because you can't teach height, and his hand placement and his first step quickness and his intelligence go a long, long way as an offensive lineman.
And as far as on the defensive side of the ball, we have 4 linemen stepping forward. I want to start with Josh Black, who also had that bonus year from COVID and the NCAA granting an extra year. What do you like about Josh Black? We really didn't get to see too much of him as he is, getting back to 100%, so we didn't get to see too much during Pro Day. What is it about Josh that you think NFL teams should know and pro football in general should know?
Oh, I think that the scouts already know with him. When you turn the tape on, the first thing you see is a high motor. He's relentless. He's very explosive. He has a tremendous pad level. He just makes plays everywhere. The only question is going to be the same one you hear about anybody that's under 6'3". You're going to worry about size and length because of the size and offensive linemen nowadays. But his leverage, his quickness, his explosiveness are all the upside. I think he's got a tremendous upside to him. He'll even be better than he is now. The only question is going to be, because of his size, can he be single blocked? That's a big deal to the NFL. If you can single block somebody, that gives you one extra guy in a different spot to work on a big time pass rusher or something. But I'm a big Josh Black fan just because of his motor, his high energy, and the fact that, first time I ever met him, he really didn't know much about me, but he had done his homework and he went out of his way to introduce himself and speak to me. And every time I see him, the way he carries himself is a plus.
I love hearing that, and obviously a lot of positivity. 2 great gentlemen we just mentioned there. One of the guys that I definitely would like to get more conversation about is McKinley Williams, the only interior lineman that's coming out of Syracuse for this year's draft on the defensive side of the ball. What do you take away from McKinley from Bear? I talked to Cody about him. He said, listen, the dude looks the part, right? He's big, he's tall, he's got the size, he's got the weight and whatnot. What do you like about McKinley?
Yeah, well, he flashes tremendous lower body strength and power. He's very, very tough to move. For a big guy, he's very surprisingly quick laterally. I just think he needs to make more plays. And he gets in a camp or he gets in, he just needs to make more plays. Right now, he's a gap occupier because he eats up space and he doesn't go anywhere. You don't bounce him around. You don't move him. And he really does show some good lateral quickness, but he's got to get him to make plays. And he's got every tool, I think. And, he's fun to watch just because he's so stout and strong inside. He's just got to get a few more plays, which is hard for those guys. Sometimes they can play a great game and finish the game and not have a single tackle and might be have their best game of their life because they occupy space and blocks and allow linebackers to make a lot of plays. But you still got to produce a few numbers. But, I think he's got a chance and an upside just because exactly what you just said. You don't bounce him around. He's got all the tools.
Yeah, and then in my dude, Kingsley Jonathan as well, somebody who has obviously him and Cody Roscoe, but I want to talk about them individually. But Kingsley Jonathan done some things with his body. He's a defensive end, but also looks, in Pro Day, looked like he could be, a guy who could play up as well and be a linebacker of sorts. What do you take away from Kingsley Jonathan, and do you think he's put himself in a place where maybe he could be multiple and be a hybrid to NFL teams out there?
I think he showed that he can run and move on his Pro Day. Size is a question to put his hand in the ground, but there is so many of those hybrids right now. They rush on third down, they can drop. If he can produce on some special teams, punt protection, kickoff return, even possibly running down on kick coverage, because he showed he has speed that we didn't think he had. I don't think on Pro Day he opened some eyes. Again, he's very similar to Josh Black. He's very similar to Airon and McKinley and even Cody. That they play hard, and that effort and attitude we spoke about earlier. That's something that gets entrenched by culture. It gets entrenched by older players passing it down, and it gets entrenched by a coaching staff that doesn't accept anything outside of that. And it's very evident in all these guys we talk about. When you turn the tape on, they got a motor and they enjoy football. And those two things are hard to teach.
Yeah, and then we look over to Cody Roscoe, who I was there at Pro Day and definitely appreciate Syracuse University for letting us be there in the media and get to watch it, get to take it in, because I'm a student of the game. I just want to sit there and I'll watch them run drills all day long. So I would have sat there for 6 hours and watched. Cody definitely stood out to me. And I think, coming off of it, I know what I saw, but then I'm looking at other, people saying things, writing things, and having conversations with people. And everybody was really thinking like, yeah, Cody Roscoe really showed out in this one. So what was your take on Cody? Sorry, go ahead.
Seemed like that, everybody thought he was kind of a sleeper. Well, if he was a sleeper then, he must have woke up, because he's not a sleeper anymore. I mean, he did a great job with the bench. 33 reps, of which he wanted to do more.
Yeah.
He showed speed. Again, he's got every intangible. He's got everything going for him. He's productive. He had, 8.5 sacks or something this year. He was in the top echelon of the ACC in sacks. He's got all those going for him. It's just, can we overcome that size leverage issue that, NFL scouts get caught up in numbers, and, there's always somebody that defies those numbers, but they like to tell you over the years that the 6'1" and the 6'7" don't work out together. Well, Dwight Freeney was 6'1" too. So, and I spent a lot of time with Dwight, and he proved a lot of people wrong just on explosiveness and strength and effort. So.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point there where people want to look at size. We're hearing about Kenny Pickett's hands aren't big enough and this, that, and whatever. How much do you play into that, Coach? When you hear about, everybody wants to know, what was the 40 time? What's the size of this? Did they look the part? Are they tall enough? We heard it about Mackie McPherson coming in to college, and then 3 out of 4 years there's a 1,000-yard back. So how much do you actually put into what you cannot control, which is the size of it all, because you brought up Dwight Freeney?
Yeah, well, and I've had these arguments for years, as long as I did scouts, and, they're going to show you the data that it only, there's only a Sam Mills pops up every now and then as a short linebacker. There's only a Dwight Freeney that pops up every now and then because of leverage. And, Dwight was kind of strange. Even at less than 6'1" height, he had the arm length of a 6'5", 6'6" player. They questioned Justin Pugh's arm length. And, he's going into his 10th season at starter in the NFL because he had great feet and balance. Now, he did get moved from tackle to guard because of arm length. But, so, there's some of those things that, and you have to admit that they're right on because they've seen enough of them, but they're not right 100% of the time. So, to me, that means there's a little crack in the cup. So you always have a chance. And normally guys like the guys we're talking about on this list, they've been fighting that all their life. All they want is a chance. Cody goes to McNeese State and then comes with us and makes an impact at the ACC. So, if you get a chance, you take advantage of it, it works out for your best.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You named off a bunch of guys, like you said, Justin Pugh and Dwight Freeney and everything that these players have done and how they've caught on and how they found success. And so I agree with that wholeheartedly and definitely Cody, this show is called Wake Up Call, and anybody that thought that Cody was a sleeper hopefully woke up. Final one.
He's definitely awake.
and Abdul Adams, the only running back that we're going to see come out this year from Syracuse. Your take on what Abdul has done and maybe what you saw from him. I got to see some drills of obviously him doing different things to show his footwork and his ability to cut quickly and to make quick decisions. And then I also got to see him out of the backfield catch some passes out there. What did you take away from Abdul?
Well, he's got great feet. He can make that lateral jump cut. He does catch the ball well coming out of the backfield. He's got tools too. It's just putting him in the right situation with the right team that needs a complimentary back. and backs are so hard to come by right now that it's not like they were years ago. They have short-lived careers, and they go through a lot of them real fast. So any running back that's got some skills, especially one that can catch the ball coming out of the backfield, always has an opportunity. And, even if that opportunity doesn't work right there in July, it'll work in August, it'll work in September, it'll work in October, it might even work in November because, unfortunately, backs in the NFL don't last long like they used to.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic point, that there's always that need for assistance and that need for help. Coach, I mean, from the Orange and Blue game to the alumni to speaking about the draft and whatnot, what keeps you energized and keeps you fueled? I mean, you're the director of development. You're working a lot with making sure that you're engaging former student athletes and bringing them back and keeping, those that have come before connected to those that are here now and those that will be here. That's a huge part of what you do, but I know you have a passion for football and you always have an eye for it as well. So what keeps you hungry? What keeps you excited on your day-to-day?
Well, a lot of these things that we have going now, we're under this big campaign, to working on the John A. Lally complex. They're going to start breaking ground in front of Manly sometime in the next couple weeks on some of the spaces. We're still in the fundraising part to get the others, to get all the approvals and all by September to start on upgrading the football facility. When that goes on, we're going to be upgrading a one-team lounge with, John Wildhack's vision and talking to a lot of former athletes and current athletes. We want some shared spaces where our athletes do a lot of things together, making a big push to improve our sports medicine, nutrition, mental counseling, and basically to give back to the student athletes that do so much to represent Syracuse University and to give joy to people that come to the games. I mean, if you see the excitement that was around the girls' lacrosse game Saturday and how well they played, and, the excitement is up at our softball field. Syracuse University offers some high-quality fan engagement, entertainment from the community, and at the same time does it with maybe you should have one of our academic people on one of your shows one day, because our academic success within athletics is unbelievable. And anytime you interview our football players or basketball players, they'll tell you about how hard it is and what they have to go through to keep up those standards. And we do a great job at it. So I think what kind of keeps me excited every day is I stay young because of the young people that are around me. The young people that are around me are class acts because the coaches within our university recruit the right type of kids. And, John Wildhack, who's our AD, and then Michael Paulus, who's director of the department I'm in now, their passion for sports and athletics. When you mentioned the Paulus last name, you already know they got a passion for sports and athletics. So it keeps me young, even though I'm getting old. Don't tell anybody, but I'm really old. So. And
Coach, I mean, you keep these connections too to the NFL. How important is that for you, and will you always have that? I mean, I'm a person where you build bridges, you don't burn them, right? You build them, and then you just keep building more and more and more. My whole thing is to build a city where there's a bridge to everywhere. So you've built a lot of bridges. What can you say about keeping those bridges?
Well, every year I get a couple opportunities to go into the NFL and the scouting end. And it's just not the right time for me right now. I feel like I got unfinished business at Syracuse. I still got such good relationships and people here that I respect. And, I got started in this development end and bringing in former athletes and getting them involved in these projects. And, I don't want to see those not come to fruition. So I keep the bridges open. But right now I'm staying on this side of the river until Syracuse gets done what I think is getting ready to happen in the next few years is going to be very exciting.
And what is it? I know you talked about the upgrades and the facilities and the different things that are coming, but what do you think Syracuse is going to be successful in doing within the next couple of years?
I think we're going to go back to being successful in everything. Really, our leadership's in place. We're getting the right kind of kids in place. We got to enhance some facility projects to stay caught up in the recruiting process. And that's the hard part right now is when we're in the ACC, keeping up with the Joneses is a big lift. And that's mainly for recruiting. Once we can get the athletes here, they get it done and they produce and they do a good job. We just got to be able to get them here through doing the right things to service them.
That coming from Coach Hicks. Coach is always, like I said, every time we talk, I feel like I have found one pebble in an ocean full of conversation pieces and different things. You are a wealth of knowledge. You bring a lot of wisdom to it. You bring a lot of care, concern, and feel to it. And you just always, you exude that passion and that positivity. And, you make people like me who grew up here, born and raised in Syracuse, always feel excited and always feel like there's something to come. And, people like you are a steal. And I hope Syracuse University understands how blessed they are that not only you came here, but that you've stayed here. And, we've been spoiled in that respect. So I know there's a lot of things that I want to talk with you about and be around you about. But I just love the fact that because you're up here, I have had the opportunity to cross paths with you and build a bridge between the two of us. So I just want to say, and I don't think it's enough, but I want to say thank you for everything that you've done and all the work that you've done because, behind the scenes sometimes is a thankless job, but you care so much and arguably more than most. And I really can't thank you enough for that because without you, we definitely wouldn't have what we have with you.
Well, I really appreciate that. And a lot of those things come right back at you. But the one thing I will say is that I think more people should really try to listen to how you go about your show because you always bring out the positive and the character and what the athletes you have on your show mean to the community. And that's evident by guys that aren't even living in this area that you make a phone call to and they get on your show and they come back. And I think normally the message is all the same. It's about the pride, the commitment, and the joy that Syracuse University brought them, and they're going to continue doing it. So maybe we'll have us a long show one day. We'll get Michael Paulus on there and talk about all our upgrades and what we're doing and how things could work out for us.
Yeah, I'm always – listen, Coach, when it comes to you, I'm always game.
Former CBA quarterback, so we'll get him in the fold.
Yeah, and and Michael was there ahead of me, and Greg was behind me, and Chris was in my grade. So I know all about the Paulus family over at CBA. So, as always, I would definitely be open to that. But, Coach, like I said, I can't thank you enough. And as always, I appreciate you taking some time. So God bless to you and the family, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. That coming from Coach Hicks here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We're going to take a quick step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. That's why we call them fast breaks, right? Not like other places where you're sitting there going, are they going to talk at all? Are they going to play any music? They're just going to keep going with these commercials. No, that's not how we do it here. We have messages directed toward you from the fantastic businesses in Central and Upstate New York. Inside of these fast breaks, positivity coming your way, and then we're right back at it to wrap up today's show and get you set for the rest of the week as Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora always looks forward to bringing you on a journey that is like anywhere else, unlike anywhere else, I should say, unlike anywhere else you've ever been. Let's have some fun with it inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Proud to be hanging out with you inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Always happy to be here with you folks, and cannot thank you enough for the incredible support that you have given to me over 18 plus years of being a broadcaster, starting my career with MU Courtside, a show that I created of NCAA men's and women's basketball live content in a way that had never been done before at Marywood, with the graphics and different things we brought into it, the team that we had, the HD that we transformed into at the time where people switch into high definition and whatnot, all the things we got to do at Marywood University with MU Courtside. I cannot thank you enough. And then that turned into the Dan Tortora Show, which turned into Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, which turned into Dan Tortora Broadcast Media's company with Wake Up Call with Superpowered Pop, our entertainment show, as well as our Dan on Disney show and our Comic Book Trail show, where we travel around the country and maybe one day around the world, finding comics and collectibles all over the country and connecting with the people that own the businesses that help to bring those awesome things to us, and maybe, obviously those childhood memories to us as well. So a lot of great stuff with Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. Of course, emceeing events, multimedia marketing partnerships, high school show connections. We have gone from being one show one day a week a long time ago to being, this company that is here for you every day, all throughout the day in so many different ways. And so Coach Hicks said, I hope that more people listen and connect with the show and see the difference and hear the difference. And I agree with you, Coach. And I know God is good. I know that putting the work in has always paid off dividends for me, and I'm going to continue to do so and trust in that. I want to thank Airon Servais for being one of those people that we get to, tell the full story of and that knows the difference and comes on here to share, in the fact that Wake Up Call is a different place, and I think for all the right reasons. So I want to thank Airon Servais. I want to thank Coach Hicks for being a part of the show inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios is here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You are watching on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and of course on Facebook.com /LiveNowDT. You're also connecting with us on MixLR.com /WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.com, listening to our live streaming feeds as well worldwide. And of course, you can find Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Podbean, and more, simply by searching on any one of these outlets, searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And of course, you can be very proud and thankful in Central and Upstate New York and beyond that we have these fantastic businesses in our community. Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, PB&J's Lunchbox, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. Go to maandpaspopcorn.com from anywhere you are, and you can order and have it delivered to your doorstep. Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, Honda City of Liverpool, the Millhouse Market, as well as Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, and Mother's Cupboard. And show your thanks and your appreciation by heading out to any one of them today and supporting our fantastic businesses. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. We are here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, always featuring Lemoyne College and celebrating them throughout, God bless me, throughout each month, and having it, well, fitting, because they are a Jesuit institution that keeps God as its foundational base. So thank you to God for saying, hey, don't forget about me when you talk about Lemoyne. Lemoyne College, the Dolphins, here with us every Wednesday during Dolphin Time at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Wednesdays, and of course during Dolphin Time, first and third Wednesday. We have AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, bringing you topics every first and third Wednesday behind the scenes of Lemoyne College and the athletic department from the head of that department, Mr. Bob Beretta, the AD. So a lot of great stuff, including the reclassification, realignment exclusive about Lemoyne looking at staying in Division II, looking at Division III, and looking at Division I moves as well. You do not want to miss that exclusive. It's on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and it'll also be added to our Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com. Of course, every second and fourth Wednesday, we have the Dolphin Dive specials, and those Dolphin Dive specials come to you as well with an opportunity to connect with student athletes as well as coaches, alumni, future Dolphins, and administration. Dolphin Dive gives us the opportunity to dive into the journeys of so many people and why they chose Lemoyne and why they continue to choose Lemoyne. So you can check those out every second and fourth Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time during Dolphin Time. And of course, it's always Fins Up, and you can find them on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as by going to the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com. For more information, go to LemoyneDolphins.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of your Marywood University Pacers. And Marywood University Pacer Pride comes to you every single Friday, as well as bonus specials like we're going to have this week that have never been done before. An unprecedented historical day for Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as we will be on site on location broadcasting our entire Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora show from the Marywood eSports headquarters. So eSports is something that has come up over the last few years, and I am incredibly grateful to Jacob Adler and everyone with Marywood eSports, Jacob, the director of eSports at Marywood University, that we will have the opportunity to broadcast Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora live on site at Marywood University at their Marywood eSports headquarters. I've never been there. I didn't want to go until we got to do something awesome. So this is going to be my first time in there. We'll be broadcasting the entire show from on-site, on location at Marywood eSports tomorrow, April 12th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, every Friday we have our Pacer Pride specials coming to you at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, featuring Marywood University administration as well as coaches and student athletes. Check out all of our shows, including with President Sister Mary Persico and more, by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and clicking subscribe, as well as wakeupcalldt.com's Marywood tab. Of course, you can get more information by going to marywoodpacers.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of your Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse Bobcats. The Bobcat Buzz is what we're calling our Bobcats coverage that comes to you monthly all year round, with an opportunity to connect with the Bobcats of Bryan and Stratton College here in Syracuse to hear from their administration as well as their coaches, their national champions, and their student athletes. The Bobcats have so many specials airing exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You could find our special sit-down with Alex Grigorita as well as with Nick Dmitrievsky and the broadcast breaking news exclusive of Clay Gagan-Sherman moving from the women's side to the men's side as head coach of the Bryan and Stratton Bobcats, happening from Mother's Cupboard. All of that available to you on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on the BSC SYR tab on wakeupcalldt.com. You will find the Bobcats with us every single month in unprecedented, unfiltered coverage, and I'm always excited to do that, including a special we'll have from Cafe Kubal coming up very soon, as we've already broadcasted that on our social media. We'll be with Alex Grigorita on site on location at Cafe Kubal's 401 South Salina Street location in downtown Syracuse, Tuesday, April 19th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So very excited to be back at Cafe Kubal and very excited to have Alex Grigorita and Bryan and Stratton at Cafe Kubal as the spotlight guest and college for the first time ever. So check out all of their stuff by going to BSCSYR tab on wakeupcalldt.com, subscribing to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. And, of course, get more information on the Bobcats by going to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I hope you have a fantastic day. I cannot thank you enough for being a part of the broadcast every single week, every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and during all of our special on-site broadcasts at Avicoli's, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Pizza Man, Cafe Kubal, and other places as well, PB&J's Lunchbox. So big shout out to each and every single one of you for your support. Big thanks to Cafe Kubal, 3501 James Street, 401 South Salina Street, both in Syracuse, inside of Galisanos Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse. Thank you to everyone who does tireless work to help our kids and help our families in our community and beyond. So thank you for that. Big ups to 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, the drive-through location on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. And, of course, 324 West Water Street, which at the end of this month we will be broadcasting live from again in their grand reopening. We get to be there just a few weeks after that happened with Lemoyne College, and I'm ecstatic about that. So stay close for that information on our social media, Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. Once again, for Airon Servais, for Will Hicks, and for myself, Dan Tortora, from the Cafe Kubal Studios, this is Wake Up Call. You are amazing, and I'll